Hello, this is Evan Slead from EGM.
And I'm Michael Goroff. I'm also from EGM.
And we're here to talk about a recent playthrough I got to do of Metal Gear Survive, the new game from Konami that's supposed to kind of continue the Metal Gear franchise. So right now what we're seeing at the beginning is just kind of how I was dropped into the game. This is not the opening portion of the game, but this is where you are learning to gather supplies, get recipes, and make food, water, things that you need, and everything like that. So have you played a build of this at all yet, or is this
I haven't played any of this.
Okay, yeah, this is my first time playing too, so a lot of this was new to me.
I mean, I played Metal Gear Solid 5, obviously.
Right, yeah. So from what I was gathering just when I was playing, there are definitely things that I think fans will recognize from the main part of the series, but most of all, this is just kind of a really, really, really specific spin-off. It doesn't really feel like it's super tied to the rest of the franchise. So, I mean, that's a good and bad thing, I guess, because it will bring more people to it that don't feel like they have to play the entire, catalog of games. But I don't know. At the same time, it's kind of strange that they even bothered putting Metal Gear on it. But anyway,
why did they do that? Is there something significant about this game that is tied to Metal Gear Solid 5?
Well, it's that whole they connected the worlds with that. They have a wormhole that takes a character from the events of Metal Gear Solid 5 and puts them in this alternate world that has these things called Wanderers that are these zombie-like creatures. I'm not totally sure how that connects yet, but there definitely are things that I can't really talk about dialogue-wise that kind of touch into the other games. So I'm sure it'll sort of connect, but so far I didn't really notice anything super significant. But right here, I'm just kind of I'm getting animal food because I was told when I was playing the first thing you should do is always have a lot of food and water. And if you can kind of see my character, the screen that I'm playing on, it's kind of fuzzy, and that's because I'm running out of energy, both food and water. The menu bars on the bottom where you can see my weapon, and then those 2 meters with the 1200 and the 1056, those are both referencing my food intake and my water intake.
So this is very much they weren't kidding about the survive part of the title.
For sure. And that's the thing. I don't have you played other survival games? This is one of my first.
Yeah, I've actually been playing Don't Starve with Nick.
Oh, okay.
So
is that something where you have to make food and
constantly? Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this seems pretty similar then. I'm making a recipe right now of this grilled karukal sheep, and you just get that by killing the animal and then going to your hub, which is where I am right now, which has different places where you can craft weapons, food recipes. You can make clean water. Right now I only have dirty water, as you can see. I never found, which is really bad, I never found a pot is one of the things you need to make clean water. I never found one, so I just drank dirty water the entire time.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly. There are downsides to it, but I didn't really notice them. I was just whatever. I'm just going to stay alive.
What the heck was that thing?
So that is okay. So this is the device that gives you your missions. They're kind of their connection to the outside world. They're just an AI system that tells you where to find these things called memory boards. And with memory boards, it expands the map and also helps you find different locations of other memory boards. So basically, it seems like the point of the single player campaign is to expand the area that you're in, this kind of new world, and figure out a way to get back to the regular world.
Oh, okay.
So right now I'm also crafting some fences, and those, I don't know if you've seen through other gameplay, they're you can actually just conjure them up in front of you and use them as a barricade, but also kind of as a weapon, which at first it seemed really crazy, but then I actually really liked how useful they were. And we'll see in a little bit here what it's like when you get to use one. But yeah, so my health and water meters are a little bit better, but I definitely recommend after playing a lot of this to have as much of your meter filled up as possible, because sometimes missions take a long time and you do not want to get stuck out there with low versions of each one.
So you can gather materials while you're on a mission, but in order to actually use them, most of the time you have to go back to the hub?
Yeah, so for food, you definitely don't want to eat raw animal meat because that will give you like an infection. And then same with water. You can actually find clean water out in the wild and you can drink that immediately. But if you want to craft a good recipe, you actually have to go back to the hub. But it does seem kind of tedious at first, but then you actually do unlock these warp holes that like allow you to not only go from point A to point B on the map, but also you can... like let's say you're in an area that has a bunch of sheep and you don't want to go over and just try to kill them all. You can actually create a warp hole that goes there and will drop sheep periodically into your hub so you can kill them there, which is kind of nice. So you have like kind of your own farm, like a sci-fi version of a farm.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So yeah, there's different workarounds and everything. I'm just kind of looking through the menu right now, but these kind of like plant-looking things, they have these things called Kuban crystals. And Kuban is the energy that you use to craft items and also that you use to level up your character, which we'll look at a little bit later in the game. But yeah, there is a leveling up system, and you can get perks for your character with like strength and stamina and new abilities too. But right now, I'm just kind of like messing around because I wasn't totally sure what I was doing yet. Yeah, let's look at the menu and you can see your inventory and status of your health and everything. But I have marked on my map, which I just saw was that big yellow circle is where I'm trying to head to. But yeah, just collecting coupon energy, which I thought was going to be kind of annoying because I don't like it when you have to like have 12 different things to do one thing. But the Kuban energy actually comes from these, but also through Wanderers too when you kill them. So I actually ended up having a lot. Like I kind of forgot about using it and I ended up being able to level up like 4 times in a row because I had waited so long.
And you just got that without even really trying to find it?
Yeah, I just was like, oh yeah, there's some plants right here. And then whenever you kill a Wanderer, you can basically like harvest their body for the energy. Because they have those Kuban crystals within them.
Like in their faces.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is actually my first mission. I'm going to one of the first memory boards. And the game's kind of teaching me how to use those fences. So you can actually equip them to either the left or right trigger on your controller if you're playing the PS4 build. And... you can basically like use it as a barricade, which is the best thing. But the cool thing is that you can still attack enemies through it. So it's a nice like little fence, literally that keeps you from getting attacked. But
it's like Walking Dead.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's got that cool look to it. But the fence does have like a stamina bar, as you can see, like right above my head. It says normal fence. That can go down to 0, and once that happens, it either just disappears or the fence will fall over towards you if enough Wanderers on top of it, and that can hurt you. So
that's kind of cool.
So yeah, there's like little things you can do to help you. You can dismantle it, which is what I'm doing right now, and you can climb over it too. So you're not trapped by it or anything like that. It's nothing but positive for you. And then yeah, right here is where I'm getting that Kuban energy, which is like I think about 100. Yeah, 100 each Wanderer. So. You can build it up pretty quickly, which is nice.
How much does it take to level up, like your early skills?
It depends. So every time you level up, it raises how much it costs to get a new level. And when you level up, you get it's like a special energy crystal thing, and then you use those to enhance your abilities or increase your health or stamina permanently.
Yeah.
But early on, it's like, I want to say like one of the first ones is like 1,000 or something. So, again, it seems like a lot, but it's really not. But then, yeah, same with these things like these wooden boxes and those iron drums. You can break those down with your weapons and get items like wood, nails, iron, to craft more fences or new weapons, back at the hub. So I was trying to like figure out how to get these guys without totally going in and just trying to melee them without any help, because that's not a good idea. I learned like pretty quickly. So
like just fighting them without putting up a fence or like doing any of that.
You can do okay against a couple if you're lucky, but they are like their hit what's the word, like
hitboxes.
Yeah, their hitboxes are like pretty decent. Like it's not super hard to aim, but They don't stop a lot. Like when you hit them, they don't kind of back off.
Like
they
it's staggered.
Yeah, they keep going at you. So you can. It's better to do that if you know the enemies have pretty low health and you can take them out in one hit. But if they have like a full amount of health, they're definitely going to hit you if you just try to stand there and melee them. So yeah, but I mean that's a pretty simple one. They give you a pretty easy amount to deal with on this first mission. But basically, yeah. So you go to these areas that have the memory boards, and this is the first one. I had no idea how to get inside because that looked like a door to me. I just thought that was a door, and I was like, cannot get in here. But then I realized it was on the other side of the building, which I'll get to. The dust I'll talk about a little bit later. I don't know why it came up now. But anyway, yeah, so there's usually items in these rooms too that are pretty helpful. I found a couple bottles of clean water and then also empty bottles, which you can use later to fill it with water and other medicinal items. So unfortunately I can't show you like what it looks like when a memory board gets taken because it's a cutscene, but it's pretty cool. And then this is another mission. I just wanted to show kind of how the game starts off by making it kind of easy, like, you know, go to this area, fight the Wanderers, get the memory board. But in this area, it was kind of the same way, but they didn't warn me about how the Wanderers can interact with the environment and with you. So I wanted to show a little bit of what it's like to be ambushed by them. So yeah, as you can see, another Kyber crystal cluster. So super easy to find. And then this guy, it was a fallen soldier, had an oxygen tank, which will come in handy later and is a big part of the game.
Oxygen tanks in general?
Yeah.
Like oxygen?
It's like once you get past these early missions, you go into an area that is covered by like poison.
Gotcha.
And you needed the energy or the oxygen tank to do that. But that'll come up a little bit later. So, yeah, just like looking at the game, I would say like when I was playing it, it looked pretty good. I wasn't really noticing any sort of weird stutters or anything. And I played on just a PS4. It wasn't a PS4 Pro or anything. But I'd be interested to see how it plays because when a lot of Wanderers show up at one time, I was wondering if it was going to stutter a lot or I would notice like frame drops and things, but it seemed okay.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so this guy was just kind of chilling there. I had no idea that he was there. So I was kind of like, oh, whatever. There's just one. Like, it's no big deal. So I killed him and was ready just to kind of move on to the next group of memory boards to collect. But then I realized like a bunch of them were coming down the side of the mountain. And I was like, oh, okay. So,
was this like a scripted thing, do you think? Or how much did that get affected by you getting like caught by that guy and a bunch of them heard you? Or is this just like something that's supposed to happen on this mission, do you think?
I don't know. See, I died other times. This was one of the times I didn't. I managed to get out of it without having to come back and try it again. So that's a good question. I don't know. I got the vibe that it wasn't a trigger as much as it was just like I was in the area and that guy made a noise. And I noticed later that the game is very much about the spatial awareness you're in. So like if you trigger one guy and they're pretty far away from other characters or other Wanderers, they'll still all come rushing at you.
Yeah.
Because they're really sensitive to sound. So that comes into play too. Like if you are in an area that has maybe like one Wanderer close by to a cluster, you want to try to like stealthily take that one down. Because if you just kind of go in and melee it, you can take it down easily, but then that'll definitely alert all the other ones around you. So
gotcha. Yeah,
it's like a little bit of like stealth gameplay too.
So the combat, I was noticing it looked like there obviously a health bar for the enemies, but it looked like you got like a critical hit or something with that weapon.
Yeah. So I had mostly used the spear. You at the early stages you can craft a machete and also a bow and arrow, which I couldn't find one part that I needed for the bow and arrow. I wish I had it because it's not only a great range weapon and you can pick up the arrows even after you use them, but also it's quiet, so you can take out a bunch and they won't even notice. But anyway, I use a spear because it's ranged and pretty powerful. But if you aim for those Kuban crystal parts of their heads, that'll give you a nice critical hit. Which for these guys isn't too hard because they're just like kind of right in front of you when they're on the ground. But later when I'm fighting a group of ones that are running at me, it's, not my priority. I'm just kind of like stabbing as violently as I possibly can. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting. They can come in clusters, but most of the time you're going to find them. They're going to be on their own. So,
do your weapons have durability?
Yes, they do.
So they can break?
Yeah, I had to make like 3 spears during my time. And I played for like almost 3 hours. So, which I will say for the spear, finding the materials is really easy. Like I could have made a bunch, but I just didn't want to overload myself with inventory. Another part of that though, I don't think that there's a limit to how much you can hold at a time.
Oh, okay. Which
is good because I don't like that mechanic in these kinds of games. Because like if you want to survive, I don't want to be picky about what I have with me.
Right.
This was a mission that you do a little bit later that was super hard for me. This is like my 4th try doing it because you have to get to a memory board on top of this building, but there's only one way to get there, and around it is all these crates that have wanderers is kind of moving around, and it's kind of difficult to figure out where they are. So I would kill one and then send a bunch over to me. So I started to have to just kind of like run up and hide on top of these and wait for them to leave and then try again.
Can they climb up on top of the crates? Like, can they like move vertically in this game, or
no, not these ones,
but other ones can?
So yeah, there are other wanderers, and we'll actually see a couple when we show multiplayer. It wasn't specifically told to me when I was playing by the developers that is a possibility, but I noticed one of them was like jumping, so I figured that would be something that came into play later. And then what I just threw just now, that kind of red mist stuff, is it's like an incense bomb, and basically it draws all the wanderers to one location. So if you want to like take them out, you can, but I use that just so I could get around them because I didn't want to have to deal with killing them all.
You didn't have any grenades or anything?
Not yet, no. I was really limited. Like the only weapon I had was the spear, and I used the fence a lot to do that. But with like a big cluster of guys, it's not a good idea because if you get like 6 or 7 of them at the fence, they'll just push it down.
Just immediately? Yeah,
it's really quick. Like they won't even hit it. If they all just kind of push on it, it'll start to fall over, which, you know, like physics-wise, I think is pretty accurate. So I was trying to find another way to get inside and was not having the best time doing it. But
so this compass at the like around your character is like one of the areas where it's sort of like glowing and moving up and down. Mm-hmm. Is that telling you where there's wanderers? Like, is that supposed to be, hey, this is like a sound wave type thing, this is where they are, or what's up with that?
Yeah, so it's sound. It's actually, you work similarly to the Wanderer, so they're very much attuned to sound. They're not as much for sight, which is interesting, but when you make a sound, like I said, they can find you. But then the same with you, that kind of indicates like there's something directly next to you that's making a lot of sound. In this case, we know it's wanderers because this is like an industrial airfield. Mm-hmm. But then it's also helpful too when you go into the wild and you're looking for like herds of animals, because sometimes you can know that there's animals nearby, but they're kind of hiding in the brush. And instead of just running through and making them run away and then chasing them down, you can actually use that to your advantage to figure out, you know, generally where they are and just start unloading either grenades or arrows or something into that area. So it's pretty helpful for survival and for combat. So yeah, I tried to do that. It didn't work. So
you got knocked on your ass.
I got knocked down.
So where was your health bar though? Because I saw you took damage, but which one's your health bar?
So health is actually tied to your top bar.
Like the food bar or
the
whatever?
Food bar, yeah. So it's kind of, there's a lot of things to remember, and at first it felt like really overwhelming, but then as I played, it didn't seem like a big deal. But there's a couple things, like you have to keep the bar high, obviously, but then you also have to eat like every certain amount of time, like periodically there's these moments where your stomach will growl, which also will tip off enemies nearby. So you want to always have a good supply of food. I didn't really do that. I was just kind of like, I want to see how much gameplay I can get in. But the nice thing is like there are little things you can find, like berries and nuts and stuff, and those ones you can use to feed yourself, and it doesn't give you a ton of but at least like stops you from having those like stomach grumblings. But But then also when you get hurt, it does deplete that bar. And then if you have an infection or if you're like bleeding profusely for any reason, which did happen to me at one point, that'll go down faster too, just on its own. So
it's kind of interesting. So it's like kind of like your health bar is always ticking down.
Yeah. Same with your water, the one in the lower part. You can kind of see like there's these blinking red lines right where the amount I have is ending. You can actually go past that bar with like, let's say you're drinking water. And then when I'm running in the game, that actually depletes that bar, but then it'll fill back up to the blinking bar that I have now, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's just like a stamina bar that refills itself, but it can permanently go down if I don't give myself enough water or anything. And then, like anything, there are a couple ways you can get into the door. Either you can just like destroy it and obviously cause a lot of sound, or you can quietly unlock it, which takes time, but it's usually the best way to go. Okay, so then this is just a quick break from single player, and we're going to look at multiplayer. This is just the loading screen where you pick your location for multiplayer, you meet up with your other teammates that you're going to play with, and you can do a couple other things too that I'll show you, but I had so much fun with this. We were actually waiting here for a while because we had to do 2 teams, and they were explaining how multiplayer worked. But you can like spam all of your inventory and items without losing anything. So me and another guy were just kind of having fun, like stabbing each other and stuff, which again does not negatively affect your gameplay.
How many fences could you put up at a time?
As many as you want. I don't know. I don't remember if I left it in this video, but at one point, all these circles, you have to go access them, and I was being like a troll, and I put fences around each one of them. I mean, you can climb it, but I was just like, I don't know, let's just have some fun.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of a blast, like because sometimes in games you're like waiting forever for your friend to get online.
Yeah.
But like this is the cool thing, like you have something to do. And you don't have to leave to do other things like level up your character or like change inventory. You can even craft items in here too. So you can do everything you can do in single player without having to leave the multiplayer lobby, which is a pretty cool idea, I think. So, yeah, I started doing that, but I didn't do it in a circle. I was just having fun.
What are these circles?
They're just different areas. So like that little text form right there that I'm next to.
Yeah.
That's where you can look at the different mission options that you can play. The one right to my right that had that weird box thing, that one is where you level up your character. That one over there with the magnifying glass is just to look at the different challenges they have. There wasn't anything to see because this is just a build. It's not like officially online or anything like that. And then, yeah, over there's the crafting table, and you can build different crafting areas, just like you can in single player. So you can, multiplayer is a little different than what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting like a versus mode, where you fight each other, but you actually do things together. Which I wasn't expecting, but
are they the same missions from the single player, or is it like an entirely different storyline? It's
different. So, really quickly, I'll get into that in a second. But I was leveling up, and this is where you can upgrade your skills and classes. So they have like the 4 main areas, which are strength, health, stamina, and I think like dexterity or something on the bottom. But then they also have extra abilities you can do, like powerful melee attacks, things like if you have better at crafting certain items. And then here is the different missions they had offered. In our build, they only had, either easy or normal, with 3 different areas you could pick from. And then on the right, those colored boxes are basically just telling you like whatever grade you get, those are the items you're probably going to get rewarded if you win. And then those are things you can use in single player, and everybody on the team gets them no matter how good or bad they were. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, so like you asked, in multiplayer, the missions are different. There's not really like a scripted mode to it. It's just kind of like...
just like scenarios?
Yeah, just scenarios. So they drop you off kind of outside the main area that you play in. And basically your goal is to get into this fortified area that has a drill that's gonna extract more Kuban energy, which is a big part of the game. And the goal is to protect that drill from being damaged. And so you have to survive 3 waves of wanderers. And obviously as the waves go on, they get more powerful. But they give you some time between each wave to craft new things and to figure out how to stop the wanderers from getting in. And I'll kind of show you like how they teach you and prepare you on which areas to fortify of your base and stuff. But right now it's just kind of getting over there.
So now you just have to like pick up materials that you can use to craft stuff to basically, fend off the wave of zombies that are going to come after you.
Yeah, so it's just kind of survival at this point.
Is dumping trash cans at you?
So yeah, that's kind of like that's the mechanic in the game. You remember I told you about how you can build a war pole for animals to fall out of?
Yeah.
The game will sometimes do that too in this mode where it'll drop like different items that you can use that are, so they're not too far from your base. That way you can kind of do a quick run, go grab some, and then go back.
Gotcha.
Because I thought it was going to be like kind of easy because we were doing the easy mode, but it was not easy. So I wasn't really trying as hard as I could have to like look for items and everything. And so now when I was watching it back, I was like, oh, okay, they really do give you a lot of options. I just wasn't really trying.
Just like ignoring all of the materials.
Yeah, I was just like over it. No, but the cool thing is like is that everybody is pretty much on the same level, but some people came in with like bows and arrows, and I like I said, I didn't have one, so I was mostly the guy that would just do melee attacks. But I ended up finding this really good weapon later in the match that I'll show you, and that seems like it's going to be the best thing to go hunt for in this portion of the game. But I didn't expect that, and I was like kind of surprised that they had a cool mechanic like that. But we'll get into that in a minute.
So are the multiplayer missions that you can play, are they limited by where you are in the single player story?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think probably because these are areas I've seen in the single player. They're built a little differently so that they kind of accommodate, a base looking scenario. Mm-hmm. But as you can see, like there's this big horde right there. And then if you look on the ground, see how there's like those white arrows that are pointing in towards the drill?
Yes.
So that's the map and the game telling you that that's where they're going to come from, which at first I was like, oh, that's kind of cheap. Like there's no surprise element to it. But the reason they do that is because there are a lot that show up, and it's better to have a way to kind of fortify your walls and to make sure that you can stop them, because they come later in the game. They come like from all directions, and it would be impossible to just kind of guess, So we were trying to build as many fences as possible, and as you can see, like it's a timed wave. You don't have to kill all of them. You just basically have to survive the certain amount of time. And so yeah, they all just kind of like knocked in, and we were like, oh shoot, we're not gonna make it, but we did kind of like manage to fend off enough that we barely survived.
Is there friendly fire?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, you can stab through. Yeah, no, I was just like, I gotta do what I gotta do. But yeah, the cool thing, once you finish a wave, all the enemies disappear. And then you have about 3 minutes to go and make some new items. And so this is wave 2. I just kind of jumped ahead. As you can see, I'm still bleeding. I have like heavy internal bleeding.
This bleed effect is actually really cool looking.
It is,
like,
right?
I know it's kind of a stupid thing to like give the game props for, but this is probably one of the cooler looking like near death visions I've ever seen in a game. This is like really cool.
No, I totally agree. It makes everything like way more heightened.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I'd ever seen these wanderers, and I was like, what the heck?
Oh no.
So I was like trying to like stab them from the top, and then the one of the PR people was like, I would definitely not do that. Basically, those are bombs on their head.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
So you can attack it. For one, you can have the chance of setting off the bomb, but also it's just has way more defense up there. So you want to stab for their bodies, and on the back of them, they have a little like slit that does more damage.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I died, and then I was revived and made it through wave 2. Now we're on wave 3, and I went way out of the way during that time period until the next wave starts, and I found these really cool like walker things.
Yeah, they have those in 5.
Oh, sweet. Okay, yeah. So like I was stoked because those guys I'm killing right now, this armored one, are super, super, super hard to kill, and I could take them down in like 2 hits, which was really great.
Do they have guns on them, or at this point you're just kicking them?
This one is just a kicker because I think there is one with a gun on it, but this one I was using because I knew like as far as a wave coming, it would be easy just to kind of run over them, which is basically what I did. Although there is a gun. I did use the gun later. I forgot. Yeah, there is a gun on this one. So obviously Wanderers are super easy. You can just hit them and they die in one hit. The armored guys take a few more. I didn't really get a chance to try them on the bombers, but I have a feeling like maybe 3-4 hits you could do it. But yeah.
So you're bleeding right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty much close to death. So,
is that what that blinking like cursor is next to your health bar?
Yeah, and then you can see like above it's 35% with a little like blood drop. That's basically just like the amount that my health is going to go down every set amount of time. And you can remedy that with certain medicinal items like pills, and then also like first aid wraps and stuff. And I was just testing out the gun, because I didn't realize I had one until I got all the way over there. But yeah, so our wormhole digger, the thing we're defending, only has like 1 health bar left, which is really bad.
Not looking good.
So we're trying to build these like big sacks and more walls around it just to protect it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you can see like on the map over on the right, all those red lines, those are these guys are going to come from. So you can expect like at least 5 waves coming at you. So we just kind of had the feeling it wasn't going to happen.
Do they all come in at the same time, or is it like one group will come in at a time from a certain direction?
Pretty much like as like wave 3, I noticed they come around the same time.
Yeah.
And I think they really ramp up the difficulty. I think what was kind of freaky to me was knowing like this is an easy version of the multiplayer. Mm-hmm. So I was like, damn, like I feel like you got to be really, really aggressive in the normal or hard modes. I was told though, like what does carry over into multiplayer is where you are as a single player. So like my level and my skills and everything carried over into this, just like most multiplayer games. But she said like where we probably weren't going to do that well because we're not that equipped with different kinds of items and health
like
and
a
stuff.
Stick.
Yeah,
that was basically it.
Exactly. So we just didn't fortify this area. We didn't really realize they could just jump over this wall. So we were kind of screwed.
It's kind of a problem.
But I tried. I went running over and tried to like destroy them, but I got killed. And people revived me. Anyway, we didn't win, but we still were awarded with a grade. We got a C because we made it pretty far into the thing. And when you open the boxes, that's where you get your prizes from. I don't know why my teammates didn't open them. It was strange. But anyway, once somebody opens them, everybody gets what's in them.
Gotcha.
And then it takes you from here to the screen, and you see the different items that you got that you can use in single player.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and so you get a ton of good stuff, and also experience too, or Kuban energy. And then depending on what player you are, there are benefits to being number 1. So you see the top player got like a couple more items than everyone else did.
Yeah.
So even though everyone still gets, really great stuff, being, either more stealth or better at killing more wanderers is beneficial. So it's cool. I felt like it was a pretty balanced reward system. I didn't feel like it was cheap or anything.
Yeah. Because everybody gets something.
Yeah, exactly. And like when I got out of there, I was like, man, I'm like pretty loaded. Like I've got a lot of good stuff. So I would even recommend when you're playing single player, if you feel like you're just kind of hurting for health and stuff, like play multiplayer for a little bit. So this is the last part of the video. This was a mission that, as I was told, only me and another guy were able to complete in like the US on this press tour, which was kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
They like told us like, if you can do it, like let us know. And we were like, I didn't think I was going to do it because I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing in this game. But anyway, so that big wall of fog you saw, that is the dust. And that's where all the poison is. So basically, once you get an oxygen tank, you can see above my health, there's 3 percentages. The one on the far left, that has like 97% now. Yeah. That's my oxygen level.
Yeah.
And that's
noted by the chemical
The
symbol.
O2 symbol, right? So that one basically just like indicates like, okay, this is how much time you have until you run out of health or oxygen, and then you start intaking poison, and obviously that can kill you. But my goal right now is there was a report that a helicopter came out of another wormhole and landed in the area. So our goal is to go there, figure out if there's any survivors, and then obviously figure out if there's an indication of how to get back home using the helicopter or anything that they have. This is my second try doing this because I wasn't really prepared for what is about to happen. And I'll show you in a minute after I collect these Kuban energies. But there's a couple ways to get over to the area. As you can see, there's like a lot of fire over there. That is an environmental hazard that obviously can hurt you, but it can also hurt them. And my first time over, for some reason, they were wandering and they just stood in it and died. Which was great, but then I was like, shoot, I like messed up and I had to start the mission over. And so that, as you can see, that time I actually had to kill them.
Yeah.
But basically down here is where the crash helicopter is, and there's a medical truck that I want to get to. But as you can see, there's like a bunch of wanderers. So I was trying to figure out how to do it. The PR person was like, oh, if you press this, you can hang off the side, which was not true. And so I just fell.
PR people at these events, I feel like they've never played the game.
Sure. Well, some of them were like really good because I was watching them play because they were playing too, and they were really good. But I don't know. I think they just forgot. But the great thing for me that other people had the problem with, because they had machetes at this point, was that they had to get down there. But I still had my spear, so I just stood up here and took them all out.
Yeah, they're not really trying too hard to climb up there to get you.
No, so I was able to like take them all out with not a problem at all, which is basically the hardest part of this area. It just, I know it looks really easy, but when you're playing it, there's a lot of things happening at one time, so it's hard to know like where you need to be going, what other wanderers are going to be around, and then you'll see in a second I have to kind of escort a character, so that's another thing.
Yeah.
It's not as hard as like most dreaded escort missions, but I was a little bit nerved out seeing that was what I had to do. But yeah, so I just took them all out, and then I think you'll see in a second here. Yeah, because I cut that you have to get this nurse up here who's unconscious over to your hub, and obviously like she's intaking poison, so you want to do this as fast as possible, and you can see her health is going down. But I unlocked this door before I went over there, and you can actually activate, like I talked about earlier, you can activate wormholes that take you from point A to point B.
Yeah.
All connected to your hub. And so what I'm doing here is avoiding wanderers, but also trying to activate another hub, which is great because I can just get the nurse directly there. But the problem is that you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can activate the hub. And when you do that, it causes a lot of sound.
Oh, gotcha.
So basically this turns into, like, let's activate the hub and then defend the nurse and the wormhole from being destroyed in a certain amount of time.
So it's like a mini version of the multiplayer.
Exactly. So... but another PR person was very helpful and was like, just as a heads up, there is a turret gun nearby. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just kind of used that to take out those extra wanderers without having to worry about, like, you know, wasting any more percentage on my spear. And then also, like, I knew it would draw them, but I kind of wanted that because I wanted all of them to be in one area so I could just easily take them out. But yeah, then I went and activated it and was able to... start taking on the wanderer floods and stuff. But it seems like this is a mechanic that kind of comes up a lot in the game in different ways. So there was a mission earlier where I had to activate one of those. I didn't have a turret, but I had bunches of waves of them coming from different directions, kind of like in multiplayer. And I had to take them all out, but I only had a melee weapon, so it was a little bit trickier, in my opinion, than this was. But I had taken out most of them already just because I was trying to be careful. So this part wasn't that hard for me at all. But
it doesn't seem like there's that many coming in.
No, so like I think what I talked to the PR person after, and they said that most people didn't realize, like, if you kill a bunch of them where the nurse is found originally, that actually helps a lot in this section because they'll come from like up here where the cluster of like industrial items are. And I took them all out before I got over there, and then also the ones all in the ditch. So I made it a lot easier on myself.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else just kind of tries to do it fast, and then they get overwhelmed. So, but yeah, that's it. I did it. Handled it.
Good job.
Dude, thank you so much.
I'm really proud of you.
But yeah, that's our kind of our first look at Metal Gear Survive. There is an open beta for the game starting tomorrow, actually, as of the date of this. So players can check it out. It lasts a few days. But for everything else, just check back with EGM and enjoy the game if you get a chance to play it.